All right, welcome back, and it's time for us to have a conversation on this segment of Breakfast Daily. Of course, the show is interactive. We want to hear from you. The hashtag is Breakfast Daily. The WhatsApp line is 0550585832. Now, there's a lot of talk about challenges with water. Of course, today is World Water Day. All right, and today being World Water Day, the theme is groundwater, making the invisible visible. All right, now, talk about making the invisible visible. We actually have water that's already visible, but there are all kinds of challenges with, these water bodies that we can already see. All right, we have a report for you. It was first aired back in 2021 on June 29th. And let's take a look at this report. Look at the state of water, the challenges that we have. Of course, there's already been a prediction that if we're not careful, in about 2030, thereabouts, we may have to import water into Ghana. This is a bit of a problem. All right, let's take a look at this report. We'll come back and we'll see what Ghana Atomic Energy has been doing, in terms of trying to help the situation. So let's take a look at this report.
The report, which was conducted between 2008 and 2021, indicated that the worst affected water bodies were Pra and Cobra, Tano, Oda, Ofin and Brim rivers. These water bodies feed most of the major water treatment plants of the Ghana Water Company Limited. In the last 2 weeks, the company has warned of dire consequences and cautioned authorities to intensify the fight against illegal mining or risk water rationing. The report by the Water Research Institute corroborates earlier claims made by the Ghana Water Company.
The status of water quality on our river basins indicate as well as establish the fact that we are in crisis as far as water resources are concerned. Galamsey activities cause the single most serious threat to our water bodies and the environment. Then the quality of our water bodies are declining at the rate, and if nothing is done by people in the regulated authorities, then we're going to have a situation where either we ration water, people have said that we're going to import water, and these things can happen if we do nothing. Ghana Water is facing severe problems in their water treatment facilities in Ashanti, Eastern, Western, North regions because of low production and levels of high, heavily polluted water coming into the treatment plant. Sometimes they even have to shut down over a period because the equipment cannot cope with the turbidity levels that they record. Next one.
The water is so silted that if you put turbines in this system, they are not going to function any far. So by these Galamsey activities, we are destroying a lot of potential for development with this country, and therefore we need to do something about that. So we can confidently say that without treatment, the Pra, the Ancobra are virtually of no use now. They don't exist. It's as if there is no water in them for us to assess unless we have treatment. And to treat them for irrigation will be expensive, and therefore nobody will be interested in doing that.
The Institute also recommended some interventions to avert the looming water crisis.
We need a workable roadmap. There have been attempts, soldiers going in and out, people, they leave, the people go back. Are we going to continue like that? They need to restart our process, check which one is working, and then we can stick to that. The public education should go on, but we feel that the assemblies, the chiefs, and the local people should be involved. They should hold the mantle because they live in the communities. If every local authority is holding forth, I don't think we will have this situation. The soldiers are doing a good job, but they don't live there, and they cannot stay there all the time.
Beyond halting the Galamsey action, we now have a well-in-place objective and plan for restoring these river basins. And that could be by doing any of the actions that are listed here, filling back these ditches that have been dug by the Galamsey operators, doing some form of leveling or reprofiling of the basin, doing vegetation cover, providing vegetation cover in the form of tree planting or native vegetation. Some of the river channels are completely broken and they will have to be repaired, and then they have to be stabilized.
We need to look at our policy. 2, we need to be consistent with whatever we decide to do. Not do something today and the next day. The third one is what, it wasn't part of this thing, but what Mr. Ampoma said. Institutions should be made to work. And Obama said the problem with Africa is with what? Weak institutions who are not allowed to work.
All right, welcome back. And that report there was by a colleague, Kojo Ajiman, and this was aired, like I said, a year ago, or close to a year ago, in June 2021. As you can see there, some of the things that we're experiencing there in that report are things that almost perennial. It's like it's with us the entire time. Yeah. Now we have in studio two gentlemen who have been involved in some research and some work to try and figure out how to sustainably fix some of these challenges that we have. I have with me with us here, Dr. Gabriela Abbas, who's a senior research scientist with GAEC, that's Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, as well as Dr. David Peglo, who is a principal research scientist also with the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
So talk to us a bit about GAEC and the work that you've been doing. Yeah, either of you can take it.
Okay, so thank you to your cherished viewers and for the opportunity and having us. Yes, the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission was established by an Act of Parliament at 855. It's been more than 40 years. We've noted to be, in quotes, atomic bomb, but we do more, simply more than when it comes to nuclear or atomic energy. Okay. So when it comes to water resources and environmental management, we've been in the forefront of spearheading to manage our water resources using both conventional and nuclear analytical techniques over the past years. So today, being the World Water Day, we'll restrict our activities. Even though it's food, we classify water under food, and we do monitor generally what the public consume when it comes to food safety, which includes water. Yes, but today we want to talk more about water and our analytical techniques that we are using, what we are putting in place to make sure that our water resources are well harnessed and to sustainability as well. You know, the UN Development Goal emphasizes on clean water. And clean water means that contaminants in the water must be kept to a level that is good for human consumption to ensure that the population is safe. So in brief.
But in terms of clean water, where does Ghana stand now?
Yes, thank you very much. As we saw from the report, Ghana, we are blessed with a lot of water resources. We have abundant rain, especially in the southern part. When it comes to the surface water, the rivers and the lake, then we also have a huge reserve, which is the groundwater. Currently, we have issues with some few rivers, the Pra, the Ankobra, which are highly polluted. We have only the Volta that is currently quite not polluted per se. And we have a lot of groundwater reserve. So this year's World Water Day, focusing on the groundwater, is apt, because when you realize the way things are going, we are polluting most of our surface waters. And our future hope that we are going to rely on for our survival to get potable water is the groundwater. That is why this year we want to highlight the importance of the groundwater. For the surface water, when it is polluted, you are passing, you will see it. But the groundwater, when it's getting polluted, it takes a very long time. And once it gets polluted, remediation becomes very difficult because of the nature in which it is.
So which one is the groundwater?
Groundwater, basically, if I would describe it, is water underground. Another name for groundwater is underground water. So any water that is found below the earth's surface, usually we access it through handagors. When they use manpower to dig it, it's really shallow, we call it handagor. But when they use the machine, the drill, to go deeper, which is called the borehole, is also a form of groundwater.
Okay.
There's another form of groundwater that we call the spring. When you get to some places, you see the water gushing out from the ground. It's also a form of groundwater.
Do we have springs in Ghana?
Yes, we still have springs
Oh,
a lot,
we do.
yeah.
Okay.
Amejope area, we did some work around Amejope. There are a lot of very clean springs there.
I see.
Okay.
Interesting.
Now, so we know that Galamsey activities, other human activities are gradually polluting our water. How serious is this issue now in terms of surface water and how we are preserving it?
Yes, so Galamsey is a menace. It's just as you show on your television set how our waters are being polluted. Because, yes, groundwater is one key area that Galamsey activities have effect on. And we at the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, we adopt some proactive measures, even though this is not known to the public, because we do research, we go in the areas where there are Galamseys. We have a graduate school where we train people at master's and PhD level. So these are high-scale research, which comes with very good output. And as I'm speaking, for instance, the last work that was done around Osino area, trying to assess all boreholes that are within those vicinity, unknown to them, to try and find out the level of pollution that is occurring. And for the surface, the best way would have been for them to the Operation Hot Galamsey. But in the absence of that, we still need to try and protect the public and to ensure that we have enough data and give to stakeholders to take significant decisions. So when it comes to Galamsey and the surface water is a big problem because, the water comes from the rocks. The underground we are talking from the reservoir rocks. So when you disturb the land, in those through there are certain contaminants that has been hidden naturally, which we call radioactivity, radiations, which is man-made and God-made, not man-made. So once you disturb the land, you bring out this closer to the proximity of the surface, and that is able to leach into the waterbed, which can affect the consumption. And it makes actually processing such water very difficult. The Ghana Water Company will complain to you.
So does that mean that, our activities with the surface water is now beginning to affect groundwater, or we are not there yet?
Well, currently we are not there yet. That is why the campaign, we want to forcibly make the point that we need to make conscious effort to protect our groundwater resources. So that we don't want to get to a point where we are today with our surface waters. In collaboration with Water Resources Commission, CSIR, and then Community Water, we have a lot of what we call monitoring networks around. We have networks that we monitor the activities of what is happening in the ground periodically, so that when there is an issue, we are able to remediate it. Basically, what we have to know is that groundwater also gets a source of recharge. It's not an enclosed thing. It gets a source of recharge. And that source of recharge can either be directly from the rain, or sometimes, depending on the area, the water stays on the surface after some time before it seeps into the ground. So any activity that we are doing on the surface is likely to also contaminate our groundwater. So as he was talking about, these days you see a lot of people are moving to depend so much on boreholes in their individual homes. So we want to highlight the fact that, yes, Ghana, we have been blessed with a huge groundwater reserve. But if you want to construct any borehole, we advise that you seek expert opinions. Because some of these boreholes, sometimes when you construct it and it's not constructed very well, you may end up getting it polluted. We advise that as much as possible, you give about 15 meters away from your manhole where you intend to site your borehole. But if you look at the nature of how we acquired our lands, I acquired 100 by 100. I have given my 50 towards my wall, but my neighbor decides to site his borehole right in front. So we advise that before you site, consult your neighbor to have a fair idea where he also intends to site his manhole, so that you can know where exactly in future it doesn't bring a problem with you and your neighbor. We also recommend that before you go ahead to site a well in your house, check around if there is anybody with a borehole within your vicinity. Normally, if it's done by a professional person, they will do the water quality test, so that you have a fair idea of the quality within your area before you go in. We also hammer on the fact that testing the water is very important, because if you don't test the water, you end up drinking water that is contaminated, and most of these contaminants may not have immediate effect. The effect normally takes a very long time. I'll give you a classical example of Bongo, if you are familiar with Bongo areas.
Okay.
Bongo areas is a specialized area where we have some minerals in the rocks. It is called the fluoride. So these minerals, if you blow in the fluoride, it causes the dental decay.
Yeah.
And in some extreme cases, even skeletal fluorosis. But it's a localized problem. It's not a problem that is everywhere in the area. You can get to a community where they have 2 boreholes. Those who are depending on this borehole A are having problems, but those depending on borehole B do not have problems. So we always recommend that testing the quality is very, very important. And once it's the groundwater, we want to go beyond the testing of the normal quality, and we also have to test for the radiological contaminant. That is where Ghana Atomic Energy comes in.
Okay. So what are the processes? So for instance, I want to drill a borehole in my home. What are the steps?
Good. The first step is that our Ghana Water Resources Commission have licensed drillers. So when you want to contact anybody, insist that he's a licensed driller. We insist on you working with the licensed drillers because when they drill your well for you, we will have data and record of your well. Periodically, research institutions go around and select some of these wells and monitor for the quality to protect all of us. Then secondly, if you are using the water for commercial purpose, you need to go for what we call the water use permit. It's very important. You need to go for a water use permit. And then thirdly, talk to a professional. When he comes, he assess your place. We normally do what we call geophysics. When you come to an area, we have a point that you get the maximum benefit if you want more water. It's not there's water everywhere, but there are points that can give you maximum yield. So we do what we call the geophysics to assess the land and see where we can get the most water.
So in addition, after you done taking these steps, the other very critical issue will be to assess the quality of water before using. So when it comes to this place, yes, Atomic Energy place, because we have both facilities for conventional analysis, a one-stop shop, because even though our core area is nuclear techniques, but we also have all the complementary analytical techniques to check the chemical constituents as well as to check the radiological constituents. And in Ghana, fortunately for us, there's law. There are requirements. In fact, the Ghana Standard Authority has a water quality standard, which details all the tests that must be done for a bottled water to be certified as drinkable. All the tests that needs to be done, what levels must be met for it to be certified. So we collaborate, yes, of course, with GSA, Ghana Standard Authority, the Food and Drugs Authority, who have, most cases, have the first stop when it comes to certification. Yes, and then including our sister institutions to carry out this test. So when it comes to radiological tests, the one key thing is that for radioactivity, it doesn't respect any of the 5 senses. Okay, if you have water that is chemically contaminated, it may even give us a kind of a scent which you can smell based on the chemical contaminants. If it is radioactive, none. You understand? The only way is to do the test. So for instance, it is detailed. WHO water is standard, the same adopted by the Ghana Standard Authority to do what we call gross alpha beta. And then there's a level, gross alpha, gross beta. These are radiation. Yes, in the water, which when we consume, it can tell us to know based on the levels we get, we're able to estimate and know in 10 years, 20 years, what are the implications. You understand? Because nowadays, when it comes to diseases like cancer, there are a lot of studies that have shown up to a certain level of consumption of radiation that can lead to such things. Even though radiation is good for humans. Because if you've eaten banana yesterday or day, you have eaten radiation. Because it contains natural radioactivity, which the body is able to balance by itself. If it is in excess, it gives out, and if it is not, it balances out. Yes.
You know, so we worry about polluting surface water, you know, and the fact that if you're not careful, in some time to come, we may have to import water. Is the groundwater limitless, or we can also have issues with groundwater?
Yes, groundwater Fortunately for us in the country, a lot of studies have been done. So we have a fair idea of the groundwater potential throughout the country.
Okay.
But it varies from place to place in terms of quantity and quality.
Okay.
In some places, you get the water enough yield with no quality issues. In some places, you get enough yield, but there is quality issues. For instance, some boreholes, when they pump after some time, it becomes reddish. We say that is iron contamination.
Okay.
In some areas too, we have fluoride contamination. In some, so depending on the area, you have some localized problem. But in terms of the potential, we have a huge groundwater potential. But what should be exciting for us as Ghanaians is that quite recently, the International Atomic Energy Agency, in collaboration with Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, has commissioned a project called the Sahel Project.
Okay.
You know, the groundwater too is just like the way the surface water is. If you remember, the construction of the Bagri Dam affected our Kosombo Dam. So groundwater reserve too, we call it an aquifer. An aquifer can extend into another country. It doesn't respect our boundaries.
Okay.
Exactly. So we are coordinating this project such that we want to know the groundwater reserves in Ghana, how deep did they extend to our neighboring countries? So IEA is coordinating Ghana, Togo, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, as far as Mali, Niger, Mauritania, which we call the Sahelian region, the whole Sahelian region. They want to have a fair idea of to what extent is any activity in Burkina Faso going to affect the groundwater that is going to happen in Ghana. Okay, for Ghana, we've advanced that currently we have some students from our neighboring countries. Currently, we have a student from Benin who is understanding. We've gone through the first stage. They are a little bit behind, so he's coming here to study for about a year to study how we are going to do. Later, we'll be expecting some of the other within our neighboring countries to join us so that we can have a fair idea of the groundwater resource that we have in the sub-region.
There's one thing that for typical homes, you know, let's say in Accra, trying to do a borehole, you find that a lot of places have high salt content in water. Why is this? And is there any way of dealing with that problem so that you can drink?
Yes, we have something we call coastal aquifers.
Okay.
You know, we have, as I said, aquifer is more like a reservoir of water.
Yes.
We have what we call coastal aquifers. By virtue of being closer to the sea, when you drill a borehole there, you are likely to encounter what we call saline waters.
Okay.
But this saline water is not necessarily only within the coast. As I mentioned, because we are harnessing it from the rocks, some of these rocks contain some of these salts. So you can go into the north, but you will get groundwater that is highly saline.
Okay.
But the good thing is that there are a lot of treatment processes now that you can use to reduce the salt content in your water. Yes.
Okay.
So what matters is that you need to know the chemistry, for instance, of the water.
Yeah.
And then based on that, we can recommend what kind of
Treatment.
desalination you have to do.
Because remember, I made the point that
Yeah.
it's always advisable you know your neighbor's quality.
Yes.
When you have a fair idea of your neighbor's quality, we can now give you a realistic estimate of what you should expect when you also drill, and then how much it will cost you if you want to drill the water. Because we see a lot of people, they drill the well, when the test is too salty, he has to now cap it because the cost of the treatment becomes so expensive for him that he has wasted so much money.
Generally, as a people, how should our approach, towards water preservation in this country be like?
Yeah, when it comes to water preservation, yes, it's everybody should know water is life.
Yes.
70% of the human body is made of water. Our blood, 90% is made of water. You cannot just live without water.
Yeah.
And it even gives a lot of jobs to so many people. Most of our Coca-Cola, everything, they need water.
Yeah.
So the first thing I think is to conscientize the people to understand the importance and the need to know that life depends on water, and then we will be able to preserve. And then when you are doing, because sometimes the laws are there, enforcement are there, that the people don't even see the need why they should oblige.
Yeah.
Don't cut trees maybe around the surface, and they don't understand. They think this is tree, I can cut it and I'll use it. You understand? But so I think if we deal with our character and deal with the people for them to understand the importance, most of the time human beings are bound to always go against laws.
Yeah.
Okay. Just quickly
Of course, yes.
before you leave us, this is coming from Sagnarigu Kukuo in Tamale, just opposite. This is Muhammad Abdul Razak is the one sending this message, and he says that just opposite the municipal office, municipal assembly office, he says we haven't had water flow through our taps in over a year now. Meanwhile, I keep receiving bills. Okay, so that's a Ghana water situation.
Yeah.
But then water that's not flowing. What is it? Do we have spells of dryness of groundwater? Do we have those kind of? Can it happen that groundwater can just go dry for a while?
Yes, no per se, but that is the advantage of the groundwater. You know, because of the issue of climate change, rainfall pattern is changing. Maybe the temperature is rising.
Okay.
Yeah.
The water that is on the surface undergo a lot of evaporation. So you end up getting a lot of them being dry. Groundwater is a little bit resistant to these climate change issues. But the issue we also have to know is that when you over depend on it, where the abstraction, the amount you are taking out becomes more than the amount that is going in, then you have a situation of what we call lowering of the water table.
Okay.
But fortunately in Ghana, we have not reached there yet. We still have a lot of groundwater reserves in almost every part of the country.
Okay, fantastic. How do people get in touch with you if they need to
Yes.
get assessments
So
and things like that?
if I'll say, just by concluding, say that yes, the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, we have the expertise. In fact, we are, apart from the other projects, we are a regional designated center when it comes to radiation protection by the International Atomic Energy Agency. So we always receive people from the neighboring, the sub-region within Africa to come and train our facilities. And we also continue to collaborate with our sister institution, the Ghana Standard. We urge them, because they are the first point, to enforce their own standards by directing the people to do the right tests that are required, which we have the facilities and the men to do the work to cover the country. I will not mention products that those who do it, but I can say some do, but a substantial amount also do not do this radiological test. And yes, we'll urge them to continue to do. Yes, a private citizen can also walk in. If you want to go through your borehole, you can get in touch to us. We'll supervise. We'll have do those, the physical, the chemical, and we'll also help you with the testing.
Okay.
Yes, by just walking into our offices. Unfortunately, we have only one office location at Kwabena.
Yeah.
We are only located there. Once you get there, you can access us, and we'll be. Our doors are open to assist.
Well, if I can add just to what he said, beyond the quality monitoring, we observe that after we drill your borehole today and the quality is measured, that is not the end of it.
Okay.
Now, when you start pumping the water, you realize you exert a lot of pressure underground. So, because there's pressure there, a lot of water from nearby are forced to come into your well. So, we recommend, depending on the nature of your first quality result, we then recommend whether you should do it after 6 months or 1 year.
Okay.
But when we come to especially individuals or organizations or foundations, we go beyond that. We monitor the water quality for you a year, and then the second year to monitor the water quality free of charge, just for you to be sure that the water you are providing to the community is free of contaminants.
All right,
Nice one.
fantastic. We've been speaking with Dr. Gabriela Abbas and also Dr. David Beglo. They are both with the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. Don't go anywhere. Breakfast Daily will continue. All right, welcome back from that break. And we're still having a conversation about water. Of course, today is World Water Day. And of course, the theme is groundwater, making the invisible visible. All right, and we're going to have a conversation again about, this time we're focusing more on the challenges within the urban spaces and so on, and the challenge that people have with water. Of course, this is going to be involving Ghana Water companies. But we have a report for you. Let's take a look at this report. We'll come back and then we'll engage in this conversation.
The Ghana Water Company Limited on September 13 began repair works to replace faulty valves on some 900 transmission lines, and this cuts water supply to the western part of the Greater Accra region. The works were expected to last for 5 days, after which the supply of water would be restored to the affected communities. On Thursday, the GWCL revealed that It had completed 80% of the intended work and assured that water would be restored soon. On Friday, when City News visited Kanishi, one of the affected areas, water was flowing through the taps of residents. They were hopeful the repair works would fix the challenges they had been experiencing for some time now.
We don't get good water here. How long? From past 10 years. It's not 5 years, it's not 2 years. From past 10 years, before good things come around things, we don't get good water here. Only water we get is something like kele in color. Do you know kele, red one? Yeah. We fetch it here. So we don't fetch water to cook. We don't fetch water to do some things, but we buy pure water to do our cooking. Then we fetch this one to flush our toilets. Right now, so if you wake up to it, they lock, but we pay the bills. We come here and complain to her, but they say they will change it, but they don't do anything about it. But today they hoping it. Everything is okay. I see that the pipe is come clear. Now, if it's like that, we like it. This one is good.
Most times it's dirty. Most times it's dirty, especially when it's closed for a day. When it's reopened, it's very, very dirty. So we'll have to wait for maybe few hours or probably a day before we could get water from it. I haven't filled my gallons or my drums yet because I'm waiting probably by evening to have been cleaned. It's been open, but I think it hasn't been open here. It's been open in some parts, but not everywhere.
However, at Dansuman, the residents who were waiting for the GWCL to restore water supply to the community said they would be hard hit if it was not restored by close of day on Friday.
My announcement is nti ye bubu bi si ho nti omo share so on be Friday nti ye show mo animu so omo be bia maye still na mai tole bi o ha ubi a need to say clean poto nti wo mo na ate kakra so omo sie dia na se ebeba clean maye na ye so nka be ye de
ye wo so mo bi because coronavirus wo ho e na omo se ye wo yensa. It's a pipe no matum ni de nyakra because of pandemic na wo no tie wo se omobomodian no mu bi na etimi bububi.
The Ghana Water Company Limited has hinted that an increase in water tariffs was imminent following the repair works at its facility. Some consumers shared varied views on it.
Here we don't fetch water too much, but they give the bills is too high. Sometimes they give you bills 5 million, 4 million.
I can't change what they want to do, but I can only plead if the change will come, it shouldn't be that much because the economy already, it's a bit hard. So if there will be a change, it should be very slight.
I say,
Bill ni de ni so mutum if it says lockdown nim no bill omo de bread e issue ni free bill omo de bread no na e do so pan na say free na no omo de ahyem it any so mutu bill mu bill na e ba na so dada nti ke ya nkomo maintain ni sa mai.
Residents living in the affected areas where the Ghana Water Company interrupted water supply for the past 5 days are hopeful that the repair works done on their pipes will solve any challenges or any issue they've been having with their water supply for some time now.
All right, so this is the report by our colleague Shirley Zuru now. We've been joined in studio by two gentlemen from the Ghana Water Company Limited. We have with us Samuel Ampa, who is the communications manager with Samson Ampa. He's the communication manager with the Ghana Water Company Limited, TEMA. And we have engineer Francis Kwesiawotwe, who is the chief manager operations with Ghana Water Company Limited. Gentlemen, you're welcome. Thank you. All right. Now, today is World Water Day.
Yes.
A lot of, as you saw in the report there, I don't know what your initial thoughts and reactions are to some of the things that you heard the residents talking about.
Yes, the colored water.
Yes.
That's the first one.
Okay.
And I was glad the lady then said, oh, today's one is
good.
Exactly.
It's
this
clean.
is, because they are underground and there's a pipe burst, what happens is that if you are not doing pumping, there's a siphoning. So it enters. So that's why after repairs, we do what we call flushing.
Okay.
We do flushing for some time. So sometimes you see our people opening hydrants.
Okay.
And people would think it's a pipe, but we are just flushing the lines. And then we use chlorine just to do that. So sometimes you might see the such colors. But after some time, like the other gentleman was saying, some few minutes, in fact, it's not hours. So a few minutes, we shoot. But if it doesn't go, then there's a need for you to, inform us so that we can quickly find out.
So on the need to inform you, you know, I received reports from Wager.
Yes.
Their water for some weeks now is green. Yes. I saw pictures. What could account for something like that?
Something like this, if you had given us the information, sometimes it could be localized.
Okay.
Let's say somebody has a pipeline, right? And it's a service line. There could be a leakage. And that leakage will sometimes form a pool, stagnant. And sometimes tadpoles can grow there. So if you are not aware, we cannot know.
Okay.
So once you inform us, it's localized, it will be investigated and then done away with. So these things they are bound to happen.
Okay.
But how is our general water situation like in Ghana? Are we cool? Do we have to start worrying?
Example.
We don't have to worry at all.
Really?
Not at all.
Okay.
We are doing our very best to serve the interests of Ghanaians. Yes. We are here to save you. And let me start from this angle. Today is World Water Day.
Yes.
So programs such as this is a means of drawing attention to water. At the same time, highlighting the challenges that we also go through as an organization. The theme, as we're told, groundwater, visible, is mainly for water resources because they deal mainly with underground water. But with groundwater, our interest is in the surface water. Yes. And one area that our challenge comes has to do with these Galamsey activities and the challenge it brings to our raw water quality that we treat. So we want to take this opportunity on a day like this to also draw attention for people to know their activities and how it impacts negatively on our operations, especially the Galamsey activities. For now, we can see that at least it's going down a bit, but then for us as an organization, we are still having the effect today, grappling with the effect. The reason being that, you see, when these activities take place, normally happens right in the riverbed. So they disturb the riverbed. They have a lot of sand silting the course of the river. And for Ghana Water, we have our treatment plant and an intake well where we have the water coming closer, and then we abstract, we treat, and then we distribute. But here is a case because of the Galamsey activities. That intake is heavily silted.
Okay.
So the volume of water that you need to abstract, you don't get that volume of water because of the Galamsey activity. So that is one challenge that we have to work with and try and find a solution, and it has to do with these Galamsey issue. For us as an organization, what we are doing to solve that problem so that we can have continuous supply of water to our customers, is that management is arranging for us to dredge the dam or that intake well. When we dredge it, we'll have a lot of water. The volume of water will then increase. Then we can abstract enough volume of water, we can treat it and give it to our customers.
Now, how long is that going to take?
Fortunately, contracts have been awarded for some dredging activity to take place. As we speak now, my boss can confirm, Owabi Dam in Kumasi, for instance, dredge masters, they have been awarded a contract to dredge Owabi Dam. We also have similar arrangement with Western region, where you have our plant at Dabuasi and even Busmasi. Then comes Sechere-Hima, central region. So management is doing very well and to work very fast to be able to get this dredging done, and then we'll have enough volume of water to treat and supply to our people.
So what you're saying is that the water that is coming from, let's say, let's pick a water source. Let's say the Pra, for example.
Yes.
Okay. As it's coming, dirty, silted, heavily silted, and all that, it gets into the reservoir. the receptacle.
That's
You're dredging the receptacles to make sure that the volume of silt that's coming doesn't enter into your machines.
Exactly.
That's the idea.
That's one of the points there. We'll take the silt out, and then we'll have enough volume of water there. And then secondly, it will also not affect our pumps, because when you have it silted, the pumps, instead of abstracting water, will then abstract mud, and then that particles can damage our pumps easily. So the dredging that management has arranged for it to happen is a way of solving that problem, so that we have enough water whilst protecting our equipment.
How sustainable is that, though?
Yes, you see, how sustainable, I'm glad. You see, we do it, in fact, every year. But the question is, can we continue? That is why every year and occasionally we want to inform the public the need for all of us to come together to stop this one. If you pass through, when you're going to Takoradi, you look at the pra, even on the bridge.
It's terrible.
Even on the bridge,
on the bridge,
and you go to our intake points, it's terrible. Now we have stopped using aluminium sulfate, because now it's not potent enough. We have to move to higher one, which is very expensive. Very expensive. And when the siltation takes place, you see, it means the intake abstraction point, you see water always overflowing. Meanwhile, the holding capacity is small. So every year we have to do the dredging. Meanwhile, we used not to do that. Every year, if you don't dredge, you won't get enough to cover, especially the dry season.
So, but galamsey is a major problem with us now. What else? I mean, we are calling on the fight against galamsey and the need for us to stop these kind of activities, but the fight is still ongoing. People are still doing galamsey. You know, what do we have to do? If this continues, let's say for the next 2 years, what will happen?
Yes, not only even galamsey, even you know, sand winning.
Yes.
Kamale, Weja, the last you saw our sector minister. So some of these challenges, it reaches the ministerial level. So that's what they deal with it. But on our own, we monitor and then send the report to whoever is supposed to take the final decision. Now you go to our headquarters, military, police. Why should that be the case? You go to Weja, you see the military there. You go to Odaso. Occasionally, the military has to scoop all those areas. So until they stop, we must also continue policing the area. Otherwise,
but are we making any headway at all in terms of, I mean, with regard to water?
Yes, comparatively to previous year, I think now it's not bad. At least it's not the best, but it has subsided, it's gone down, and we are getting.
You know, people in some areas in Pram don't have water. They've not had water for some time now. I don't know if you're aware, and probably what could account for that. As Shaiman saying, you know, certain areas, Adenta saying, why do people still not have water in Accra?
Well, you know, our population has really increased. If you look at when the treatment plant was put up and up to now, population has even quadrupled.
But that's to be expected anyway.
Certainly. You also have the issue with urbanization to battle with. And then we have some operational challenges ourselves that we're also trying to overcome. For instance, our transmission line from Bon treatment plant that's supply water to Mabusta, for instance. We have challenge that we are working on. If you could recall, somewhere last year, or last 2 years, we started with some exercises. We are replacing that portion of the weak portion of that transmission line. And this time around, the management has put to place some arrangements so that we have about 360 meters. We also replace that portion. So gradually, we are replacing that weak portion of the line that frequently gives way. You know, when it gives way frequently, the volume of water is affected in a way. But for now, whatever water we receive, we are able to manage and give to our customers. So we are assuring them that management is doing everything possible to replace that transmission line. And once that line is replaced completely, we are sure we're going to get continuous supply of water. Again, as we speak now, there is an arrangement for us to have a new treatment plant at Aveime. Now, when Aveime comes on stream, water will be pumped from Aveime to the industries in Tema. The industries will no longer depend on the water that we now have to share with them, with their domestic customers. So we have a lot of water to customers around Tema and its environs. But for now, what we are doing is that we are managing the water that we have so that everyone will receive some volume of water.
You know, for consumers, you know, when we don't get water, I mean, all we know is if I turn on my tap, I should have water, you know, and if this happens, the first people will call will be Ghana Water Company Limited. Ghana Water is not working. Ghana Water is not doing this, you know. Aside the transmission lines that you are working on, do you have genuine day-to-day operational challenges that, for instance, Ghanaians must know to share in your difficulties as well? Maybe that will also help us understand at certain points when we don't have water, how to control ourselves.
Yes, for us, you see, it's the demand-supply gap. Ghana Water is supposed to produce over 260 million gallons. But these days, every year or every day, we produce 192 million. So you see the gap.
Wow.
And realize that the population growth, we are not able to match. These are investments. It takes time. You carry out studies.
But why are you not able to match up?
No, you cannot. You see, you realize that the demand is a moving target.
Yes.
Yeah.
But just like your salary and now the economic situation, obviously.
But you should make projections.
No,
you should know that this will happen.
You see, you make a projection, but invariably, you realize that the population growth, like urbanization, like Accra, you realize that, oh, it is X amount by 10 years' time. By the time you reach there, it's even quadruple.
So is it money issue? What exactly is the problem?
It is urbanization, the way we plan.
Okay. So, but engineer, here's the situation.
Yes.
Electricity has also shown us that, you know, there was a time when we were under capacity. We could not produce up to what we needed.
Great.
But currently, we actually have more capacity than what we need. Right. Why is Ghana Water also not in a situation where we have capacity to produce more than we need?
Great.
So that we are not chasing the problem.
When we go to Konongo, we have more than we need. When you go to Aframsi, we have more than we need. So it's localized.
Okay.
You understand my point? Okay. You go to Cape Coast, you go to... It's there.
Okay.
Cape Coast has water problems.
Cape Coast, yes, because of the Galamsey. It's the Sechahima, the Galamsey. You understand my point? So the capacity is there, but that one is the Galamsey.
Okay.
But you come to what is Accra, for example, you are not able to match.
Yes.
So the investment takes time before you are able to do it. Right now, we've lined up a number of projects. Some are ongoing. It will take time, but you see, whilst human beings, it's not 9 months, all things being equal.
Yeah.
But project, before even one pump arrives, it's about 180 months. So you do all these projections, but you cannot come and tell Mr. A that, you see, you have your project, but almost always.
We have a message from
so for Accra, that is a challenge.
We have a message from somebody. It says here, this is Mohammed Abdul Razak. He says, Sagnariku Kuku in Tamale, just opposite the Municipal Assembly's office. Yes. We haven't had water flow through our taps for over a year now. Meanwhile, I keep receiving water bills, the water bill alerts, over 120 cedis every month.
Yeah.
What's going on here? What could possibly be the challenge?
For Tamale, it's sound winning. Tamale is sound winning.
Okay, but that is understood. Yes. So there's a problem. But why are they receiving bills? If they're not getting water, why are they paying water bills, okay, Mr. Ampa?
Oh, it's not a problem.
But it's a problem for you.
Let's take the opportunity to explain to our customers.
Yes.
So first of all, our system is not prepaid. It's a postpaid.
Okay.
We give you the water. We give you the opportunity to drink the water for a whole month. Before we come to that, please, the water that we have supplied to you, kindly pay us.
You're saying it very nicely.
That's how we do it. That's how we come to your doorstep and then we plead that we have already given you the water. Can you please pay your bill? Then we give you the bill. So before the bill gets to you, you have already consumed the water. So it might happen that for this month, you don't have water running through your tap. But then the bill is for the previous month consumption. That's what we are supplying to you. Again, it might also happen that you have some arrears with us that you haven't settled. So we print the bill just to remind you that, oh, please, customer A, you have these arrears with us.
How
so
nice.
We are just reminding you, could you please make arrangement and settle arrears?
I like you.
That's how we do.
Right.
That's how we do. So giving the bill is not a problem at all.
Really?
It's just a reminder and also to tell you of the water that you are consuming.
We have heard you.
Yes.
We have heard you. Right, so this is all time will permit us. Thank you very much, Engineer. Thank you very much, Ms. Tampa. This is Breakfast Daily. We'll be right back.